Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Life Behind the Sticks. In today's episode we are going to show you how to achieve a frame rate of 120 frames per second on your Xbox Series X. Let's do it! So before we get started with this and before I show you how to do this, there are some caveats that you need to take into consideration, and I have done a whole Life Behind the Sticks video on frame rates, so if you're not sure about frame rates, refresh rates, that kind of stuff, check out that video and I will link it in the description and probably at the end of this video also. But you will not achieve 120 frames per second if you don't have the right TV or monitor. If your refresh rate is capped at 60 Hertz, you're not going to get 120 Hertz. So please keep that in mind. Similar, if you haven't got a 4K TV, obviously you're not going to get 4K resolution. So not sure if it's possible to get 120 frames on an Xbox One. I know it is an Xbox Series X, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today. And it's fairly straightforward to do and to set up, and you know, there's the whole thing about performance versus resolution. So 120 frames per second is really about performance. You know, I can set mine on a 1440 at 60, which is more about the way it looks. So it's up to you how you want to run your Xbox. This is more about performance today. So without further ado, let's go across to the dashboard and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so what I'm about to show you is actually going to be switched off by default, and so you have to actually switch this on manually. So once again, you can either hit your Xbox button and find settings. It might be there, it might not be. It's always going to be under your profile and systems. Go to settings and then go to TV display and options. And you can see by mine, it has three options. It has 4K UHD, 1080 and 720. There's no refresh rates. So what you basically have to do is move over to the video and fidelity overscan here, and it will be set to auto detect. So what you need to do here is just click in that and select HDMI like that, and it will ask you if you want to use manual settings. You choose that option. It's going to reset for a second, and now as you can see, you've got the option of a refresh rate tab. Now it will come in, when we first come in, it will be 680 by 480. It will look very blurry. Make sure you choose 1080p to reconfigure it. Again, it will go to a blank screen and come back. But now you've got a refresh rate of 60 or 120 depending on your monitor. It will depend on what options it's going to give you there. So now I can do 1440 for mine at 60 Hertz if I want. So if you're not sure before you do this what your TV's capable of, run the calibrate TV option, go through all the different steps, and also what it will do once you've done that is it should give you this screen here in 4K TV details. And although this is specifically for 4K, it does tell you a whole lot of information about what your monitor can do. Is it set up for HDR10, compatibility, all that kind of stuff. So run the calibration test and you should be good. So obviously the next thing you do is just change your refresh rate. It will reconfigure, and it will ask you if you want to save your settings. Say yes to that, and then you're good. We have a 1080, 120 Hertz, 120 refresh rate, and you are ready to rock and roll with the higher performance rates. You're going to find that your games are going to be a heck of a lot smoother. You're going to see things much quicker, and overall it just is a much more pleasant gaming experience, in my opinion. So the very last thing I would say, now that you know how to do this, is just play around with the settings and see what works for you. The footage I'm showing here is from Metro Exodus, and this is actually captured at 1440 at 60 hertz, and as you can see, it looks pretty stunning. But again, it's up to you how you want to play your games. If you're not worried about for performance too much, if you're not playing like a first-person shooter or a multiplayer where performance is key, then you might want to go down the graphics route and stick at 60 hertz and maybe bump the resolution up and get a much clearer picture that way. Hope it's been useful. If it has, leave me some comments down below. If you've got suggestions for things that you're struggling with or need help with, again, leave them in the comments section. A like rating's always appreciated, and we'll catch you next time on Life Behind the Sticks. See ya.